Welcome
Welcome
to Sleep Drunk.
to Sleepdrunk, where Alavi's body is sore for unknown reasons.
Reasons you'll never know. Okay. I have to think
You won't know them because we don't know them.
I mean, I might know them.
You might know them. You might be withholding information. That is true.
I've engaged in strenuous physical activity recently. I'm a very sedentary person, all things considered. So with that said, let's jump right into our first segment for the episode. This is a segment I'd like to call the Sleep Drunk Advice Column, where we, the Sleep Drunkanistas, give you some fantastic life advice right from our hot, juicy desks. So, Alex, do you want to kick it off, or should I?
That's up to you. My desk is not hot nor juicy, however.
Well, and I think if that's the case, I'll let you take this one. I start a lot of them.
Okay. To preface this, I think we both went kind of different ways with this. So
Yeah, we did.
Alavi was trying to steer me around, and I was just like, "Hey, man, this is just what I think when I think I'm going to give people advice." So, since this is our first time ever doing this, I feel like it would be appropriate to just sort of give a general lot of advice that
Okay.
corresponds to several different areas. And if we get feedback or we just see things in the future, if we ever give advice again, then we can move on from there and give it more localized areas.
Mm-hmm.
But so I've broken mine down into 4 different subtopics. So I don't really have too much to say about consumer advice. Obviously, price shopping is your best friend. Something that I haven't done until recently is add a browser extension that finds coupons. I don't know why,
Yes,
but you always do that. I mean, you're just saving yourself money.
Yeah, buy Run Honey.
Yes, I use Honey as well. And as far as being cheap, unless it's something that you actually only plan on using once, always buy the best item that you can afford at the time, the best quality, and don't base that on price.
Yes, which I'll
But
talk
like
about
generally,
mine. But yeah.
generally, it's sort of together, but not always. Know when it's not.
Yeah,
But that'll just come in handy, because if you just do that, then that reduces your chances of ever having to buy the item again down the road.
Like, for example,
And
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
So like my mother, I love her. She's really bad with earbuds, and like she breaks them easily, but she always buys the cheap ones, so they keep breaking. And yeah, she'll go to Marshall's, find some cheap pair of earbuds.
Oh,
Like they will emit
Marshalls?
sound, like the $5 to $10 cheap earbuds. The package has been opened. They will emit sound and then break. And I'm just
many
Mom,
things will do that.
just get a good pair of headphones. She's like, no, they're too expensive. Ah.
but
Here,
like,
look at this.
if you
Hi, Mom.
just go on Amazon, right, and you just spend $20 on a pair of earbuds, it doesn't take any more, really.
Mm-hmm.
You will get a pair that will last you 6 months.
Yes. Or if you take care of them, longer.
Yes, longer, but like 6 months bare minimum. And that it just sounds like a overgeneralized thing, but it's really not. It's a great piece of advice.
Yeah.
So, moving on to my life advice sector, I'll phrase it this way. There is, I'll use that. There's a strong possibility that I have ADD or some sort of attention disorder. I have not been diagnosed. I'm looking to get that done. But I just think in the same mindset, and I have all of the things that people look for in people that are ADD. And I found a way to cope with a lot of the main problems that people have. Like, I don't have the main problems because I've just found ways to deal with them, like organizing your life, basically your schedule, and remembering to do things. Sticky notes are your absolute best friend. Even if you don't, like, and this applies to everyone. You don't have to be ADD, or you don't have to be thinking you might be ADD in order for this to apply to you. Sticky notes are wonderful. You don't have to buy the name brand ones. They can be cheap, unless you just need that beautiful canary yellow. And just use them to remind yourself of even the most small things. If it needs to happen, write it down. You'll see it. You know you will see it.
Yeah. And I think this is... Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is the same philosophy I use with, like, my pocketbook, where I carry a pocket notebook. I think it's, like, I just like having that space where, like, oh, if it's there, I can grab it and I can write it down. But sticky notes fulfill much the same purpose.
Yeah. And, that's sort of a different thing, but sticky notes are also useful for that. It's just writing things you think of down and then coming back to them later.
But also I put, like, my shopping lists in there, like, reminders, stuff like that.
Yeah. That's actually... Yeah, well, anyway. Also, organization is just key to everything. So, as far as your schedule, always put things down in a calendar, even if they're small. Like, I have my calendar set to any sort of appointments or things I want to do. They go in the calendar. I have recurring events down for all of my classes. That way I just don't forget that they're there. As soon as things happen, I write them down. I have my work schedule set to transfer into my calendar automatically. It's just that way if I have an especially busy day, I can go to my calendar and see exactly what I have to do, and I won't forget anything because it's there in the calendar. And then that also applies to just being, I guess, more productive, or just wasting less time looking for things. Like, I keep my dorm room very organized. I know exactly where everything is. That way I don't have to spend time searching for things, because time isn't readily available, at least while you're in school.
Yes. I mean,
yes.
I try to organize things. I'm really bad with this, and I think it's really because when I moved in, I didn't bring enough storage, so a lot of stuff ends up just sitting on my desk. Like, I
didn't either, and I regret it. That's another piece of advice. When you come to school, bring storage.
And by school, he does in fact mean college residential life.
Yes, that is what I mean.
Because like you don't need to be walked in with a sterilite bin until like you're like first.
And by storage, I don't mean tubs and boxes. They're very bad ways to store things.
Like
I mean drawers.
Shelves.
Drawers are the ultimate, or shelves if you can fit that on your desk. I can't because I have too much tech on my desk.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, under life advice, this semester have been dealing with a lot of stress, and with that comes anxiety. And I found that the most useful way, or the best way to stay productive and deal with that, is to just, whenever you feel that way, just stop. Just go do something that makes you not feel that way until you definitely don't feel that way, and then go back if you can, and unless it's the end of the day and maybe it's time to call it quits. Even if it seems a little early, it'll be better for you in the end because you'll be more productive. And if you're studying, especially for a test, you're probably not going to remember half the shit because you're just too worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
So just stop.
Yeah.
It might be hard to do when you know that you have things looming over you and deadlines are approaching and things have to get done, but you're just going to be exponentially less productive when you're stressed out about it.
Yeah, and I think kind of dovetailing off that, although I despise using that phrase, it's awful.
You did it.
Yeah, I did.
You did this.
That is some like care and taking the kids to your, but like it's the point. But kind of going off that, also time management is important. Like allocating time to do things. Like, for example, when I study, I use the Pomodoro method, which is dividing your time into set intervals of which is like, for me, works roughly 25 minutes. And I know it doesn't work for everyone, but trying to find some sort of system that can help you structure your work, at least in my experience, has helped a lot.
That does not work for me, and unfortunately, I still have not found a method of time management that works for me, and it has made this semester even worse. So,
F in the chat, boys.
If you can find something that helps you, by all means do, because it's just it's so good. But like I wish I had that.
Yeah.
And that actually leads us into school advice very well, if we weren't already in school advice. okay, so a lot of students I've noticed, and this goes for, my friends in other classes, they'll get a grade on something and they'll think that's it. That is it. Like, I have this bad grade. Grades are very negotiable, as well as many things that you wouldn't expect, including hotel rates.
Yes, they are.
Like, if you go to a hotel and you just don't want to pay that much, go to the front desk and be like, yeah, I don't want to pay that much. You can negotiate them down significantly. But you just go to your professor's office hours and talk to them about it. A lot of the time, like more than half of the time, I'd say, they'll be willing to maybe throw you a few points, or at least explain to you what you did wrong. Yeah, exactly. If the very worst, they'll explain to you what you did wrong, and then not to do that in the future. And do this early on. That way you can learn the professor's nuances and get used to it and get good grades.
Mm-hmm. I think that's especially the case for very, very idiosyncratic professors. Like the kind of people that want things their way. As long as you learn their way, it's not hard. But the key is learning the ways in which a teacher or professor wants their things and giving it to them in that way.
God, I just had a horrifying thought.
Mm-hmm.
What if our boy, I don't remember what I called his first name, but what if our boy Westinghouse did that in addition to his awful grading rubrics on his tests?
Oof.
Like, that would just...
Because I know that my great econ teacher, Professor Ravioli...
is he like that?
He had, yeah, you give something his way. Like, you tell him what he wants to hear.
I despise that, honestly.
You get the grade.
I hate that.
Okay, the thing, that's more for the short answers. And since it is a foundational class, I can kind of understand that. It's still annoying, though.
Like, I feel like as long as you're right, you should be right.
But the problem is in econ, like, right is subjective in a lot of cases.
True. I don't know anything about econ, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend that I do.
Yeah.
The next thing is find friends in the class, because they're useful for so many things other than just being a friend, obviously. They can help you understand things in the class. That way you don't go home and have to spend more time than you should finding out what something means or how a concept works. You can just talk through it, and then you'll most likely understand it a lot faster. And also, if you have a group project, do this early on, because if you have a group project, having reliable friends is very important, because that can make or break your grade.
Yes.
And tech advice. Generally, just I don't know how that I would recommend to do this, but just be an informed person when it comes to tech. And I know this doesn't apply to everyone, because some people are so uninformed that they don't know where to start. But like, researching online isn't as boring as that might sound. Like, you can just watch, if you can stomach it, you can just watch YouTube channels that explain things, like Tech Quickie by Linus Tech Tips.
The one and only.
Yes, the one and only. Yes, his voice is pretty annoying, but also, yes, he is pretty informative.
He is.
And then my buying advice for tech is this exact same as what I said earlier. Always get the highest quality that you can afford, because then you're just going to have to buy it again if you don't.
I think this is especially true with tech, too, because in a lot of cases, devices begin to lose software support after a certain point. Like a certain number of generations back, like, at least I know for in the case of iOS products, they stop getting updates and they stop getting support. So if you buy...
I mean, that's not only iOS. I know pretty much all Android manufacturers do that as well. After a few years, they just stop pushing updates to that phone, and you're
because
done.
In a lot of cases, it is a hardware issue. Like, older hardware can support, or cannot, I should say, support what like newer software is like bringing with it. Like, for example, I know in the latest iOS, Apple made a big push for AR, and a lot of older phones didn't have the processing power or the necessary like components to deal with AR effectively, and so that's why they didn't get that update.
Yeah, and also, you know, I hate to be like this, but that reminds me of the the whole ecosystem thing. Don't get stuck in an ecosystem. Be very mindful about these online services that you use, and if there are options, choose the one that's easy to use on the most different platforms. And I'm guilty of this some myself. I'm a bit stuck in the Google ecosystem, whereas Alavi, you're guilty of it. You're stuck in the Apple ecosystem. But actually, and I will argue here that the Google ecosystem isn't as closed in.
Yeah, no, that is without a doubt it is not.
Like it is still an ecosystem, but it's not as you can't leave
like
because you can
wall,
access it anywhere else.
Yeah. I think that is true.
Mostly.
I mean, I do use like I use the Google Office suite for most of like my office type work. Like for like
I don't, which is interesting. That's one of the few things in the Google ecosystem that I use or that I don't use.
See, for me, it's just that cloud syncing is really important and really useful for me because I rotate through a lot of different machines, and it's just nice to be able to have like, oh, hey, I always know this document is here. I don't have to worry about whether it's on a flash drive, if it's on which device or what. So just for me, that feature is super, super useful. And also I don't have to pay for it unlike Office 365.
Actually, that makes me see, I wrote in the notes here to just come up with things on the spot. That gives me another idea of something to say. And this also falls into the organization thing. You should designate certain devices for certain use cases. And in my case, I have been lucky enough to be able to have the Surface Book that I have, and it has replaced what formerly used to have to be 2 devices for me. It combined the power of my old desktop with the portability of my old laptop, and here I have my lap desktop.
Your desktop replacement, I believe, is the industry term, right?
Well, but it's also a laptop.
Yeah, no, so it's a desktop replacement laptop.
But like it's not a new it's a bit misleading. But anyway.
I mean, that's the term, because I know at least for gaming hardware, they're like, oh yeah, like you like for example, my gaming PC is considered a desktop replacement, where it has the functionality of a desktop while still being portable.
Well, not all of our audiences would get that.
Yeah, fair.
So I don't ever need to read documents, that aren't online, like my school documents or anything, anywhere besides my computer, because that is my computer.
Yeah.
So for me, using a software suite to do word processing and other things like spreadsheets just works. But I mean, for some people it doesn't. So I only use Google Docs really if I have to. And that's kind of why, is because I can get away with using Word, which is more powerful. There's really no arguing that.
Word is more powerful.
And it doesn't really cause me too much inconvenience, because that is, I guess, one of the ways that Google is a more closed-in ecosystem, is because they don't support editing documents that aren't Google documents on their cloud. Yeah. And I feel like it wouldn't be that hard for them to. They just don't want to.
Yeah.
You have to convert it first and then re-download it, and that removes the functionality of Word and any reason why you would use Word.
And also, like, there's a bunch of weird font bugs, like certain fonts don't carry over.
Yes, and that too, and like you can save fonts in the Word file, but you can't. There is no file in Google Docs, and you can't add fonts to Google Docs.
But what about Pages or Keynote?
Don't get me started.
Or
and
numbers.
And also, I will say this: OneDrive. No. Don't pay for any expansion things to OneDrive. It's just not a good service.
Also, don't use iCloud Drive while we're at it. Don't iCloud Drive is crap.
Don't do that. And people that back up their photos on their iPhones to iCloud.
Okay, I mean, there is a valid reason to do that.
Free Google storage. You can get infinite free Google storage as long as you're okay with a slight decrease in quality.
Well, no, here's the thing. There is actually a reason. When lots of people back up their phones in general to iCloud, because the restoration process is a lot easier.
But on Google, if you just open the Google Photos app, there are your photos.
Yeah.
They're
no,
there.
but like for some people, it's like they'll back up their entire phone, and the photos are
There
part
is no
of that.
restoration.
Yeah, but it's like if like your phone breaks, like it's like
Yeah,
emergency
and then you get a
backups.
new phone, you open a Google Photos app, there are all your photos from
But
your
like what
last
some
phone.
people do is they'll back up their entire phone state, and then if the phone broke, they get get that whole full state re-downloaded.
Yeah, but you don't have to have them downloaded.
Yeah, but lots of times it just gets packaged in, and so people do it anyway, just because convenience.
And then they rely on it, and then, oh wait, iCloud's full. That's
No, but
the problem.
iCloud's crap. Don't use it. Yeah. Is that about?
I'm sure I have more tech advice. This is something we could actually delve into later. So I think it would be good if I wrapped up my bit and you go ahead into yours.
Okay, so like Alex was saying, we had two very different philosophies for this. I decided to take a far more specific route, and that my overarching main point of advice here is don't shop at specialty stores with an asterisk. Like, there are some instances where it makes sense, like for specialty foods and whatnot, but I'm talking places like Best Buy, Joseph A. Bank, Men's Warehouse, and actually the biggest offenders in this space are in the men's fashion and dress, like, I guess not dressing, but like menswear, the realm of menswear, because Men's Warehouse and Joseph A. Bank are ridiculously overpriced, and the only reason they make money is because people who are uninformed go there because it's the only place that says, hey, we specialize in formal clothing, when in reality you're getting something that is going to be of mediocre quality for an incredibly high price. So I know, like, sometimes people say this but they don't give alternatives. My main alternatives would be either A, buy from online retailers such as Suit Supply or Indochino, because what they will do is you will measure yourself up and they will create a bespoke garment for you for often equal to or less than the price of Men's Warehouse of Joseph A. Bank. And the benefits, okay, so in clothing there's 3 tiers of how something is fit. There is off the rack, which is like you buy it and you put it on. There is tailored, where you take a pre-made garment and then you have a professional shape it to your body and like adjust it. And then bespoke is when you are measured up and it is made from scratch. And bespoke almost always has the best fit. Like, it will fit your body best, it'll make you look the best, it'll make you feel the best. And I think especially with menswear, that's an important thing, because most people, I feel like, don't wear a suit every day unless you're like in a business setting. But for a lot of people, wearing a suit is a special occasion, and you want to make that special occasion worth it. You want to get something that makes you feel like as great as that occasion might be. And that's why I think I like these like online retailers, because I know this is a big industry buzzword, but they cut out the middleman and sell direct to consumer, and they use all that stuff. But I think this is an instance where it really does make sense, because you are getting very high quality things for a affordable price, all things considered, because you don't buy a suit every day. And I think this goes back to Alex's argument of like buying quality. And especially with like a suit, you want something that can last you 10, 20, 30 to your death, really, because a good quality suit will do that. And it'll be there for a large part of your life. And another option you can take in this realm, which I know a lot of people kind of, I guess, recoil at, are thrift stores and flea markets. Now, I know I might get some hate for this because people will think, oh, it's some crusty, old, nasty, like, crap garment. But if you know what to look for, you can find incredibly high quality clothing that you might just need to tailor a little bit for very, very low prices. Like, I'm talking like single digit dollars in some cases. And I think a good resource for this is, as much as I'm opinionated about this YouTuber, the Gentleman's Gazette is a YouTube channel run by a man who still thinks it's 1950, but he does give very good advice. Like, He has used the term peasant unironically, but
I don't think I'd listen to him for tech advice.
Oh no, you wouldn't. To quote him, if you wear tennis socks outside of the gym, you look like a peasant. That is something he actually said. But he does give good advice in this regard. Like, if you want to learn how to wear a suit correctly, my man Sven at the Gentleman's Gazette, he's got you. Anything else, look elsewhere. Just go
Also, he
somewhere
says
else.
that West Germany makes the best film camera equipment.
He actually is German. So
Oh, really?
yeah. He collects
Sven, I should
fountain
have
pens.
guessed, yeah.
Yeah, I mean Sven's actually an Iceland or a Nordic name, but yeah, he is actually German. His name is Sven Raphael Schneider. But he actually does make his garment advice is good, and like I was saying, as long as you know what to look for, you can find really great stuff for very low prices. And you'll look great, you'll feel great, and then those things will last. Like they'll be made of like really like high quality wool. It'll be like hand sewn. Lots of aspects that will make it very high quality. I don't think it's worth delving into all of them now, especially because I don't really remember all of them that well because I have like one bespoke
Because you'll
suit.
be talking out of your mouth. That's why.
Well, no, I'm not. But it's like I just have one bespoke suit, so I haven't needed to. But if I buy another, I will go. But I know some of the things to look for are no glue. If there's glue on the garment, it's probably not good. Hand stitching is generally better. You want to look for things that are mostly of organic fibers, minimize synthetics. But there's a few others. Those are some of the main ones. And also, for the love of fucking God, all of my 20-somethings out there learned how to tie a fucking tie. It is not that hard. That is
It's
20
not
minutes,
that hard.
a mirror, and a YouTube video. You can do it. I'm tired of people coming up to me in like formal occasions, people who are into their 20s, even their 30s, saying, hey, do you know how to tie a tie? I can't do it. Learn how to tie a tie. It's not that hard. Seriously.
I agree with you. But I do have a bit to say about this. So, for some people, like me, I don't have any real reason, hardly ever, to wear formal wear, which is why I don't have any nice suits. In fact, I don't have any suits. I have a blazer. That is a blazer, some ties, and some dress shirts. That is about the extent. I don't even have dress slacks. And I've learned how to tie a tie more times than I have needed to tie a tie, because the amount of time that goes on in between the times that I need to tie a tie is greater than I can remember it for.
I mean, that's fair. Like, I go to a lot of weddings. I have a big family, so I guess I've had to learn, like, just memorize it. But even then, I just feel like it's a skill that most guys should know. Because you don't want to be that guy that asks someone how to tie a tie. Or at the very least, plan ahead and relearn how to tie a tie before an event.
Which is what I do.
Yeah, like, at the very least do that. And also, actually, on the topic of, like, not needing to use a suit that often, I still feel like even if you don't have to wear a suit that often, it's worth investing in a good one for when you do.
But, like,
because especially
I don't know
because
that I'm done growing. Like, I'm going to college now. I'm getting thick, and then the size could change, and then my investment could be useless.
Here's the thing. So if you have a tailored bespoke garment, in a lot of cases you can have it adjusted. Like if I've had my like suit pants adjusted once, and it is normally like a fine thing. Especially if you go to the same person, they'll just probably charge you like a small fee, and then they will remeasure you and adjust it as need be. Like, it is not set in stone. It is a very
Mike,
yeah.
But I could come up with endless menial excuses to not do this. Like, I don't have the money to do this myself.
Yeah.
Or even if I do, I'm not willing to spend it. And there's no way in hell I'm going to walk up to my mom and be like, hey, buy me a suit. Why, do you ask? I don't know.
Yeah, I can understand that. And I don't think there's that much argument I can make against that, with the exception of maybe like job interviews. Like, that is an instance where you might, like, especially...
What jobs are you applying
I'm saying,
for
like,
right now? You're
maybe
in
not
school.
now. Maybe not now. But
Also,
in 3 years.
For any jobs that I'm going to be applying to in the near future, I'm not going to need a suit.
But in 3 years, once you've entered, like, this is maybe not a thing.
That's 3 years is a long time.
Okay, maybe this isn't a thing for younger guys, but I feel like, especially if you're entering the workforce, if you're reaching the tail end of your education, it makes a lot of sense to own one.
Okay, yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. Like, this is something like, if you're like 14, don't follow this advice. This advice isn't for you, except for learning how to tie a tie. If you don't know how to tie a tie, you're a peasant.
Tie a tie. If you wear a clip-on tie, you are the enemy of society.
Okay, also, another thing, if you try to, like, mix things and you don't know what you're doing, like, for example, this dude I saw who had a clip-on tie with, like, a t-shirt and like a blazer.
A
with
t-shirt?
jeans, like, no, don't do it. It was either a t-shirt, like it might have been a polo. Also, don't wear ties with polos. Don't do that. Ties go on dress shirts, button down shirts.
That is all.
And even then, generally speaking, hard collar shirts. You can do it with soft collar, is acceptable, but hard collar is the norm. Just learn the basic rules. Learn the rules.
I can't really imagine an instance where I would wear a tie with a button down.
Like, I'm just saying, like, that is the kind of shirt it goes with, not polos, not other collared shirts. It is a...
That's what I'm saying, like other collared shirts.
Oh, yeah,
it is dress shirts only.
Yeah. I mean, in some cases, if you have a more formal looking button down, you can make it pass as a dress shirt, especially if it's a less formal occasion.
Yeah, I guess. I don't... Yeah. Maybe I do. I don't know. But I feel like I would just stick to the dress shirt. But I feel like I know why you're saying that.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, one other thing while we're on this topic.
The pink one.
For guys that wear what?
The pink one, is that why?
The pink shirt? I know. Okay. For context, viewers, I have a pink button-down shirt, which kind of is in between a dress shirt and a like regular button-down. Kind of works for both. And I think it works fine. Like that's just more of like a personal thing. But as I was about to say, okay, for anyone who goes to a formal occasion, weddings, funerals, recitals, okay? If you wear a vest opposed to a suit, you look like a waiter. Stop. You just stop. No, like, because I have a couple of male relatives who insist on doing this at weddings, and they just look like waiters. Like, it is a genuinely confusing thing, because that is normally a uniform for a waiter at a more upscale event. That is the standard. That is the norm. And I just don't get why people do it. It's especially because of a vest and a jacket will be roughly the same cost. Like, for the amount you spend on a vest, you can get a jacket. It might not be good, but you can get a jacket. And the jacket will distinguish you from the staff at an event, which is useful because A, it prevents some awkward conversations, and B, it makes you look more presentable. Just wear a jacket, please. Don't wear vests. You look like fools, especially if when you eat. First off, you should roll your sleeves up so you don't get anything on them, right? But if you don't have a jacket, you can't cover the wrinkles on your sleeves after the meal. People see them, and you look even less put together. Stop wearing vests or wear it under a jacket. For the love of God. Also, Best Buy. Don't shop at Best Buy. Buy stuff online. It's cheaper.
Not always, but it's still never cheaper at Best Buy.
Yes.
There are other stores
I'm saying
where you can go
online
to
in relation to Best Buy.
Like, I've noticed that generally speaking, unless you buy in not bulk, but like in multiples, you can pretty much always go to Walmart specifically, or maybe Five Below, and get cheaper cables than you can online.
That's
because
true.
It costs more to ship them.
That's true. Yeah.
And I say this because at Target, if you go to Target expecting to buy an HDMI cable or a phone charger, you will get ripped off.
Yeah, you will. Especially HDMI cables.
But if you go to Walmart and you get their, at least their HDMI cables, and you buy the On brand, I can't speak for phone chargers because I don't know that I've ever found a reasonably priced and good quality phone charger at Walmart. But, because actually you can get good phone chargers on Amazon.
Yeah, Anchor.
But anyway, the On brand, like you can go get a 6-foot HDMI cable for $6.
Yeah. And like HDMI cables, like you don't need a fancy one. You just need one that has two ends. If it has two ends and something in between them.
It depends. There are ones that are 2.1, I believe it is, capable, so that you can have 4K 60 hertz.
Yeah. But like I'm talking about
and
like
I will say,
those gold.
It depends about where you look
that
online.
kind of.
And this is another thing about be good with price shopping, because I'm just very proud of this. I have to say it again. I found I believe it's 10 foot. It's either 10 or 12 foot HDMI cable that is 2.1 capable, meaning I can do 4K Ultra HD, 60 hertz, 60 frames per second. The thing was $4, and I got Prime shipping.
Damn, that is good.
You can't beat that.
That is very good.
You absolutely can't beat that.
That's very good. Yeah. Well, outside of standards, right? Like, I know there's people that get, like, gold-plated cables or with, like, braided cording. You don't need braided cording on an HDMI cable. You really don't.
You don't need anything that makes an HDMI cable better. Any of those stupid little additions. You do not need that on an HDMI cable because HDMI cables are digital.
Yes.
All it needs is the signal.
Yes.
Now, I wouldn't recommend spending way too much money because the difference that it makes isn't going to probably be noticeable for you unless you're an expert in the industry.
Yeah.
But maybe if you feel like it and it's not that much of a difference in price, buy a better quality analog cable, especially audio cables, like aux cables, like 3.5 millimeter jack. Those, it will make a little bit of a difference, and it will last longer.
Yeah. But also, like I said, I think that is more like if you're a professional, like if you're working in a professional setting and you need that like highest possible fidelity,
because the Walmart on-brand aux cable will do you just fine.
Yes,
it is just as good as any other aux cable you will find on Amazon, unless it's like meant for professionals.
Yes, yeah. And I think just general advice overall is that be an informed consumer. Like, don't just go into stores and take their word at face value, because in a lot of instances, like, price just isn't quality. Like I said, especially in menswear.
Store employees never know what they're talking about. Don't ask them questions unless it's something that you really
especially in Azumis. This is something I did while doing longboard research. People at Zoomies apparently just kind of don't know anything. And if you want actual advice, go to Real Skate Shop.
Yeah, like unless it's a specialty store, like if you're at Walmart and for the most part Target, like I hate to be that guy, but there's a lot of difference between the two stores.
There is, because they target
don't
to different
ask the employees anything, because unless you know that they will be able to answer the question like where something is, and even then they're a little bit shaky. Like one time I was at a Walmart and I asked, because we were looking to do some weird photography things. I asked, "Where are your work gloves?" Guy is at one corner of the store, and I'm standing there with him. He points to the opposite corner of the store and says, "Oh, they're gonna be over there." I'm not exaggerating. This actually happened. That's how I got those yellow gloves in my trunk.
See, although to be fair, if he was at a corner of the store and he was doing a cone, he's covered the entire store. Therefore, they are there.
He's not wrong, but also
like mathematically, they are there.
But also, screw you, buddy.
Yeah. And also, don't ask Best Buy employees for tech advice. Like,
don't.
Yeah. Also, don't use Geek Squad as a colossal scam. Just don't.
Or anything like it. Google is your best friend. You will always be able to find a simple enough tutorial on Google that you can follow. Even if you think that you are the most illiterate tech person that there is, you will find something.
Yeah.
Never waste your money at Geek Squad, or I think Office Max, Office Depot. They have their own service. Any of them. Don't.
Yeah, don't.
Computer stores are a waste of money every single time. They just put a new OS on a new hard drive, put it in your computer, and call it a day.
Yeah. Okay, I will give one exception. Well, one sometimes exception to this, okay? Apple Store employees are very good. They are wonderful in my experience.
If it's a company that you know has
employees.
a very good QC standards, they'll make sure that their employees are good.
Yeah.
And that they can answer questions.
Yeah. And like in my experience, right, unless something very nitty-gritty and techy, Apple Store employees can generally take care of things. In my experience.
That's the same across the board. Sorry to talk over you, but I just want to throw this in there. That goes for restaurants too. If you're at a counter serve restaurant, I wouldn't ask what the clerk recommends. But if you're at a mid to high end restaurant, like you're sitting at a table,
so we're talking like
probably knows what's up.
Yeah. So we're talking Little Caesars versus like, I don't know. I was gonna make a joke here and I forgot it. I forgot my joke. Oh, it was going to be about Carl's Jr., but I've already lost my window, haven't I? I have.
I mean, the magic of editing can make you funny.
It's too late.
It's too late even for editing.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, are we talking, like, is this, like a tier McDonald's versus, like, a really nice Carl's Jr.? But that's not even a good joke in this context anymore, is it?
It's okay.
Carl's Jr.
It's kind of like checkers and rallies.
Yeah, I think it's the exact same thing actually. Where like, because I think
Well, it's not the
originally,
exact same because checkers and rallies, there's no real rhyme or reason as to why they are checkers and rallies at different locations. They just sort of are.
so, you know, from
Whereas Carl's Jr. and Hardee's are, they're separated by the regions of the country.
I think from what I've heard, it was a similar thing. Because like, for those of you who don't know,
Yes, it was a similar thing, and then one of the companies absorbed the other.
yeah, it's like I think it was.
Checkers absorbed rallies.
Yeah, I think Carl's Jr. absorbed Hardee's.
Oh, you mean for that?
Yeah, I think Carl's Jr. absorbed Hardee's, and I think Checkers absorbed Rallies, but like just distributionally, like it just kind of didn't work out.
Was this a Company Man video? Because I feel like it was.
It was.
Yep.
Company Man's a great YouTuber. You should check him out. Bit of free advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you finished?
I think I'm basically I'm done here. Why don't we move on to our weekly update, which we've moved to the middle of the week or middle of the episode.
Middle of the week. I mean, hey, we're not wrong.
Yeah. So Alex, how has your week been since last recording? It has been exactly a week actually.
So my week has it's been a bit slower than usual, and I really jived with that. I needed it. So last week I had my physics exam. I think there's potential for me to actually have done well. That's a first. Did anything happen Thursday? We got out of class in our
Visual culture
class, so we didn't have to do anything. Well, actually we did. We had to take a stupid menial online quiz where you can just use your best judgment and not read the thing, and you're good. And also I turned that in late, and I'm pretty sure I still got full credit because he just doesn't care.
I think I turned it in like right before it was due, or might have even been late, but
I definitely turned mine in well into Saturday.
Yeah.
But also I was able to leave immediately after my last class on Friday morning. Yes, my last class is on Friday morning. And drive home for the first time in 3 weeks.
Yes, home to undisclosed location.
My undisclosed location that is roughly 2.5 hours away from our current location here. So I don't get to go there a lot.
See,
and
Alex actually just lives in the desert with an underground colony of moon men. That's why we can't tell you where he is.
Yeah, they would kill me if I told you, so I won't.
Like the moon men would be really upset.
They would be really upset.
They're sensitive.
They're sensitive people.
Yeah, the moon men are sensitive.
Where do you get this stuff?
I just kind of do, It's just
one would think that you were high. But that was just very refreshing to see my family, hang out with Ryan, and just have the weekend off. Because usually I spend all of my weekends studying, and then maybe I can get a free half a day to, like, in total, not all together, to go do other things that I might have wanted to do that weekend. But Sunday night I drove back up here, and this week so far has been it's just a week. I know I got out of one class next week, which is good, so I can end next Monday earlier, because our lab for Monday was a 2-week one. That's always just a nice refreshing thing to know that you don't have to show up for a class. Because like my professors have been really bad about that. They never cancel classes. Like everybody talks about, seeing that class is canceled email. I've only had that happen a few times. And I guess it's better this semester with our visual culture class. And actually our boy Kevin, he's done it a few times. And then speaking of Kevin, today has just been a really, to be honest, day for classes. But Kevin Wolf,
the one
if you don't know, is my calculus 2 teacher or professor. He wasn't in class today, so we all show up, we all load into the lecture hall, and then this woman that nobody knows walks up to the table and informs us all that she will be replacing him for at least the next few lectures and possibly until the end of the semester. And to be honest, I think she was better than him. So we'll see how this goes, but that is just something, just happened. I didn't know anything of this until that, which I feel like somebody could have done something to warn us. I don't know. Somebody should have done. I don't know.
I send the chat to Big Kev.
Yeah, I want to know what happened to him.
I do too. Is that about it for you, Alex? And anything else?
That's it for my week.
Yeah. See, the past week for me has been a bit of a roller coaster. So I managed to finish my hell week without dying. Got through my jazz departmental, followed up with like 2 tests and a lab, all in the same day. It was rough, but after that, I had one of the most relaxing weekends in a long time. Like, there was no one on the floor, so I just kind of like did my own thing for a day. Like, Michael went out with his girlfriend for a day, which was like cool. So I believe we drove out to our go-to cigar store, picked up a wonderful little cigar. I believe it's the Oliva Series 5. Great stick. Went out to an undisclosed location and just enjoyed that while watching some Grand Tour, which is a wonderful show. And I just like had a nice relaxing hour just sitting there enjoying my cigar, enjoying this wonderful show. Had to move a couple times because like it was near some fields and some people wanted to use the fields. So I was like, okay, I don't want to like be all up in the business. Had to move a couple times, but then after that, I decided like, yo, I want some candy. So I hopped in my car and drove to a Walmart and bought some Lemonhead Twists, which is just like something I found. And I was like, hey, that seems good. So I grabbed them. They were all right.
So you've evolved. You've evolved from the classic getting way too many boxes of lemon heads at Target to getting lemon head twists at Walmart.
To be fair, lemon heads are still one of the most calorie dense foods you can get for the money. $1 for 1,500 calories. That's almost enough for a day.
Of an empty calorie.
But beside the point, I picked those up and also picked up some Visine, which I was in a ton of need of because it's allergy season, and every morning, my morning consists of wake up, Zyrtec, Flonase, Visine. Then I don't die, because I remember during my D&D session the night before, I was indoors, but my eyes felt like they were on fire, and it was awful, because like, I was just trying to do my thing, be a paladin, I started a cult, that was fun, but then in the middle of it, mine just started like burning, and it was awful, so I picked up that Visine, that helped a lot. Sunday, I didn't do anything. Like, I just kind of like, I don't even remember Sunday, if I'm being honest. Yeah. Yesterday.
That's a sign of a good day.
Yeah. Yesterday, actually, one more thing. On my way back from the cigar store, right, I was like, you know what? I wonder if there's any good cigar podcasts. Because, you know, it's something that I'm interested in. It's a hobby, you know. I vibe with it. And I was like, I just Google cigar podcasts, and I find at the top of a listing, the one, the only Cigar Dave podcast. It is something beautiful. So the cover art is this very, very masculine man in a suit holding a cigar and a thing of whiskey. It says Cigar Dave in a metallic font above him. The text describing the show is, I believe, the premiere show about cigars, spirits, diversions, dice, and dames, and the alpha male lifestyle. It is so funny. Like,
it's so thick.
It's
so awful.
Like, Cigar Dave, you know, he uses the word dame unironically. Cigar Dave. What a guy. Check out Cigar Dave. Tell him Sleep Drunk sent ya. Also, I did actually find a quite enjoyable podcast called The Retro Hail, which is just a couple of guys bantering. They have really weird nicknames for their friends, like Mike the Nasty. I don't know why he's nasty, but he is. But that was an interesting podcast. I might pick that up.
Is he your roommate?
No, they're grown ass men.
Got him.
Oh, you really did get me like that, didn't you?
Got him because he's nasty.
He isn't in the room to defend himself, Alex.
Good, because he just gives some dumb excuses to.
And Monday my longboard was delivered, which I'm going to talk about briefly, but the mailroom took forever to process it. So I ended up coming today in the morning.
Oh, I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, I picked mine up. Speaking of which, actually, the companion video, by the time you hear this at least, should be up on the YouTube channel for episode 7, so you can check that out. YouTube.com/
we'll link it in the show notes.
Or Sleep Drunk Podcast on YouTube. But so I picked that up, and I think today I got a good bit of longboarding in. I think I did maybe like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And I might even do a bit more tonight, honestly. Do a bit of night longboarding, find a well-lit area. But that was fun. I picked it up pretty easily, and there'll be a few clips of that in the video, which you can check out at Sleep Drunk Podcast on YouTube. And it was generally pretty good. We don't want to do a full segment on it just because we figured that it would be unnecessarily long. But yeah, Alex, how's your longboarding been?
So that's one of the things that I accomplished this weekend when I went home is I actually had Ryan, who, in case you don't know, is my good friend from my hometown. And he himself owns his own longboard, has for a very long time. He was taught by another person that I know from my hometown. It's a small place. Everybody knows each other. And I got the hang of it. I was able to balance myself on the board, and that's really all I wanted to accomplish before I, got used to his board. So I then had mine delivered on Monday and got it all set up, but then it was raining, so I couldn't use it. It was a little disappointing, but hey, we got out and we did some today, and if you're going to go out tonight, I'll go out too.
Yeah, I'm down.
But I got a little bit more used to my board now, and it's a very nice board. And yeah, we'll go over what we have and show you all of the things in our companion video so that we don't talk too much about it on here and bore you in case you're not interested at all in longboarding.
Yeah. And also, speaking of boring people, we're going on a little bit long, so I feel like we might have to shelve a segment that we've been trying to do for like 4 weeks now. And can we guarantee this for next episode, Alex?
Yes, we will guarantee this for next episode.
Be ready. We're going to talk about things we hate.
Is that something that we will talk about with our potential guest?
Potentially, yes, potentially, actually. Okay, if we have the guest, then this might be the episode after that.
No, actually, that is not a good topic for that guest, because that guest she at least acts like she doesn't hate anything.
Okay, fine. The episode after the next one, what will it be? Episode 10. Our 10th anniversary episode, or 10th
nothing's
episode
guaranteeing
anniversary.
That we'll have her on next episode.
Okay, either next episode or episode 10.
Soon.
Very
It'll happen soon.
You will hear about the stuff we hate. We've shelved this segment 3 times.
I need to, you know what? I'm going to take a sticky note out right now. I'm going to write down, think of things I hate. Now I will remember to think of things that I hate so I can be more prepared for this topic.
Yes. So
good thing we're moving
soon,
it on, because
within the next 2 episodes,
really
Sleep Drunk audience, you will hear what we hate. This has been shelved so many times. It's honestly annoying me because we always go longer than we're supposed to.
It's a good topic too.
Yeah, it is, and it's a good thing. Like a sneak peek, of course, but like you will next week, or the week after, soon. Thank you for listening to this episode of Sleep Drunk. Remember that the first person to guess the song of the day on any of our social media or via email will get a shout out in the next episode. The song of the day for last episode was, drumroll, which we may or may not insert in post,
Probably not.
Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bangles. A great song, ending of the third season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. No one guessed it.
To be honest, I'd be surprised if anyone did guess that, because we included so little of it. Last episode included almost no swearing.
We didn't swear. So that being said, yeah, I would check Wes, and I'm getting really rich.
If you couldn't get it with that, I'm honestly a little disappointed in you.
Okay. And also, don't forget to share the show. Tell your friends, let them know. Help the show grow. Yeah.
Yes, be sure to let them know that the Sleep Drunk Podcast can be found on any of your favorite podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and more.
And YouTube.
And YouTube, yes. It takes a little bit longer for me to upload it to YouTube because I have to do other things besides just hit the upload button.
Yes. But we'll catch you next week.
We will catch you next week.